Hey everybody, welcome to the Raw Online Report. Great guest today. His real name is Stefan Kienzl, but you all know him as the Boss of Outlaw. How are you, sir?
I'm well. It was a long weekend with a lot of shows all around the world, but it was a good one.
I know, I follow your Instagram, and I don't know how you do it, because what were there, 3 pro shows going on this weekend that you had clients in?
I think no, it was even more. It was China, it was San Antonio, it was Sasquatch, it was Dominican Republic.
Wow.
Yeah. And there was a pro qualifier in Sweden, actually.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's right.
And the Ben Vader Naturals in Spain also.
Jeez. You had clients in, I think that's 6 shows.
Yeah, something about that.
Yeah. So I guess that's the first question. People want to know, I don't expect you to tell me exactly how many clients you have, but how do you manage to keep all these clients, stay on top of every single message or anything? Do you not sleep? Do you sleep like 1 hour a night?
I think there are a few different factors which leads to why I can do that. So the first thing is, I think out there, a lot of people misunderstand coaching. Coaching has nothing to do with babysitting, and coaching has nothing to do with hold people's hands, and coaching has nothing to do with motivate as I see coaching has nothing to do with saying people how to do the sport. Coaching for me is giving long and short-term perspective, doing the decisions for the people, what is wrong, what is right, and giving the direction. And doing unemotional evaluations of every person and then doing the decisions. That's not a thing which takes enormous amount of time. Enormous amount of time takes, wow, you are so good. I love your physique. How was your day? Is the weather nice there? How are you feeling? How is it going on? Let's talk about your dog. Do you feel fine? Was your dog pooing today? But that has nothing to do with coaching. That's more an entertainer. So that's the first thing. I have a quite strict idea of how coaching should look like and what my task is, and I keep that. I don't go left or wrong. The second thing is I was gifted with some genetics which are quite good for that sport. The first thing is I'm quite good with my eyes. I analyze a body and I see quite in the second what's wrong, what's right, and in which direction it needs to go. And the third thing is I have a very, very good sleeping genetics. So for example, we had that weekend now, and actually during the night I get up every hour or every second hour.
Wow.
Because there are those different time zones. But I get up, do my task, and fall asleep immediately. Wow. So when I wake up, that's nothing which bothers me, because I fall asleep immediately. That's just how it is for me, and that's why it kind of works, I would say.
So when you're first talking to a prospective client, do you make it clear to them, it's going to be all business. We're not going to be talking about your dog and your relationships and your favorite movie.
We could, if a friendship develops, but that has then nothing to do with the job as a coach. Sometimes you have working relationships and sometimes you have also friendship relationships. But in my opinion, that needs to be separated and needs to be kept away from what is the real task of bringing that person to that maximum result. Yeah. I try to communicate that quite direct, but sometimes the ideas go in a different direction, and that's then always the reason why a work with someone ends, because it's totally fine that some people need a different approach. But I have my approach. I do this since 20 years, like I do it, and I'm happy with how I'm doing it, and I'm happy with the results, and that's how I keep doing the things.
Right on. So the Olympia is coming up very soon. We're like 2 weeks and a few days away. I'm curious how many clients you have competing in the Olympia weekend total.
I have more qualified athletes, as I actually have athletes which are competing with me, because ways were separating, you know.
Yeah.
Actually, competing wise, I have 14.
Okay. Wow. That's a lot. That's impressive. That's a lot of people. And yeah, I want to start talking about Urs. You knew I was going to get into that because to me, that's the story of the year, the bodybuilding story of the year, as far as most improved, biggest surprise. You know, he's not rookie of the year. He's not a rookie, but geez, I was stunned. The whole bodybuilding world was stunned at the improvements we saw. And I'll admit to you, Giles and I both have admitted this. We didn't think he was going to look the way he did. When we heard he's going to be 30 pounds up, we're like, oh boy, either he's not going to be 30 pounds, he thinks he is, but he's way off, or he's going to be out of shape. There's no way he's going to be in shape with 30 more pounds of muscle. And he's posting like the day before the show, I'm still 122 kilograms or whatever. I'm like, oh no, he's going to, you know, we thought he's going to be like second call out, third call out or something. And look what happened. We all saw. This is, I'm going to share while we're talking from Mark's Max Muscle did a great video the other day comparing the difference between 1 year, 2024 to 2025. So my first question, Stefan, is when did you start working with Urs?
2021.
Okay, wow. So you've been with him a while.
Yeah. Our first competition was his first real pro competition because he did one show in 2019 when he got pro. Shortly after, then there was the off season. Then Corona came, and we started working in March 2021 and tried to prepare for that show. Then everything was canceled. And then our first show together was the Mexican show where he got second after Mike Sommerfeld. And then he won the Tampa Pro. And actually his weight on stage back then was 93 kilograms.
Wow. So I don't know what that is in pounds, but I remember when
that's about 210.
210. So was he, I recall talking to him way back then in his early pro career, and he was 10 or 12 pounds under the limit at the time, under the weight cap. Is that right?
Yeah. Weight cap back then, you know, they raised then the weight cap. The weight cap back then was 99.6, I think, and he was 6 kg below that. So that's about
12 pounds. Yeah. Wow.
15 pounds, something about that. Yeah.
So while he was working with you, he went from being 15 pounds under the weight cap to, it sounds like, I don't know how long, and you can clarify this. He's been over the weight cap, you know, in the off. He had more muscle that he had to lose. At what point did it become really hard for him to start making the weight for Classic?
So I would say the last 2 Olympias were really a tough thing, you know. 2023 Olympia, it all started to get a little bit tough. Maybe it would have been 2023 or Arnold's also, but there he had that massive infection, diarrhea, and vomiting when we traveled to the States. So it was no problem then to get into the limit. But at the Olympia, it was an issue. And 2024 was really, really tough, you know, because that was the point. I would say 2024, he looked the best with 110 kg, and the limit is 103. So I would say 7 kg over the limit. And people always say, why didn't he switch earlier? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Okay, you got 3 times top 3 at the Olympia, okay? And you are 7 kg away from the limit. Those 7 kg you're gonna do. You at least try it because it's just possible. But we always knew that the body gets a little bit worse because we had to throw away the muscle. We always say as a joke, he left 3.5 kg on one arm and 3.5 kg on the other arm, and that was bringing him down into the weight limit. And yeah, that was the point. So the 2024 Olympia was quite tough. After that, he did a real long recovery, I would say until March, April, where he lived life. Everything went smooth. He just took a look that he has good trainings. And then we started the prep for the 2025 Olympia. And we started the prep with around 130 kg. He had that weight before also. I think 126 or something was 2024. and we beat down those 24 kilograms or something like that.
Yeah.
And we started the prep in late May, and he was really getting better. His optic was getting better every fucking week. And the weight went down to 125, and it really looked good. Then it went down to 122, and it looked insane. That was around the Portugal weekend. So that was beginning of July, and then we had a phone call because both of us were kind of frustrated. You look better every day. You take a look at your scale, and it's still 20 kg over the limit. And with 122, you could imagine, because that in Italy was 119, it already looked quite okay.
Yeah.
So there was really the point where we had to say there is no way of bringing you without serious damage into that weight limit. So people sometimes think that was longer planned. No, it wasn't. We really took the decision on that weekend of the Portugal Pro. Wow. I really have that phone call in front of me because it was such an important step in the planning. I was having lunch with Martin and Alexis. Alexis just won the wellness show in Portugal. Martin had his guest appearance, and then Urs called, and I separated from the lunch because I wanted to talk to him without any spectators. And so we took that decision back then to try it. For sure, both were afraid. Will it work out? For me, it was kind of surreal that he really looks that good with that weight. And all that fear, I would say, disappeared when 3 weeks before Italy, I fly to his home, to Germany, and saw him the first time live. And from that moment, I was sure that he's gonna get top 3, but I started to believe in that win. Yeah, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean,
for Italy, the plan was to get him as full as anyhow possible, because we got that feedback. Don't drop more body fat. You are already there. Just get incredibly full. So we did that. After that, we already soaked up the feedback again, and I think we nailed it then in Germany really, really, really good, because that's now the full-blown package, dense as fuck. But in Germany, you see it here. I was really happy with that package because it was the perfect combination of both worlds, condition and fullness.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit to you, Stefan, I was never a huge fan of Urs as a classic physique competitor. I loved him as a person. Condition, presentation were spectacular, but I was like, the arms, the back. I mean, there was just too many holes in the physique for me. And this version of him, the open bodybuilding version, I like this a lot more. And I'm sure even a lot of fans that were upset that he left classic, a lot of the classic physique fans, because he was one of the top stars of that division for years. I'm sure a lot of them, they're happy with this version too. Have you heard feedback from the fans as far as what they think?
There will always be that naysayers, but that's part of our culture. The majority is super, super positive, but what counts more, because we are a professional sport and we are depending on that what the judges say, and they are all happy with their decisions, and they all see super, super potential in that class. So that's what counts for us.
Yeah. I mean, I know one reason I was kind of upset when I heard he was moving to open, because Mike's, Chris Bumstead's gone. So there's going to be a new champion this year. And Urs might have been that champion, but now that you explain it, with all that muscle he would have had to lose, but still, he's already qualified and there's no Bumstead. I think he could have given Mike and whoever else is going to be up there a hell of a run for the money. But
yeah, that was our doubts also. But in the end, you sometimes you have to risk it, or sometimes you have to risk it all to unlock new potentials.
Yeah, it was obviously the right decision. What do you think about when Sean Ray said he shouldn't do the Olympia this year because he's not ready to make top 6 or whatever?
I have quite a strict strict view on that. The first thing is bodybuilding is a show sport, and the fans pay for seeing their stars. And if you qualify in that circus for a specific show, you should do it, because it's you should do it for the company or for the federation. You should do it for the fans. You should do it for the sport. And if there is no health issue or something like getting sick or whatever, you should go there and present yourself. I don't think that it is fair or fair is everybody should do his own decision. But he wouldn't have been any better 2026 if he would have skipped those 3 weeks. Those 3 weeks it doesn't make, when all those people who say, yeah, skip the Olympia because then you have more time for next year. Okay, we have 3 weeks more. Really? Do you think that will make a big difference? If it's in the middle of the year, you probably could discuss it, but as it falls right now, there's just no reason.
Yeah. I mean, I always say, I know he's very young. Was he 27 at this point?
Yeah, 27.
A young guy, but so this really doesn't apply as much to him. But if you get a chance to go to the Olympia, you never know what's going to happen in terms of injury. Things happen in life. That might have been your only chance to go to the Olympia. And now, I skipped the Olympia and I never got to go. So why would you do that? Especially,
and is it really always about the placing or winning? We all need to start somewhere. Did Ronnie not compete the first Olympias where he got 16? Or nearly everyone. We have 2 different stories of people who won the Olympia later who skipped it. That was Phil.
Yeah.
He skipped his Olympia, the first qualifications he had, but everybody else just walked in as soon as he was qualified. So I think showing the respect to the show, showing the respect to the federation is the way it should be done.
Yeah. And I mean, you just named a great example. Ronnie Coleman was tied for 16th along with 10 other guys at his first Olympia. He kept doing it. He did the Olympia every year that he was qualified, even though he didn't even make top 10 the first few times. And, we saw him become an 8-time champion. So this is a question I have about Urs. So he's been training and getting big to about 260, 270 in the off season, but that was with the restriction in his mind that,
way more. 130 kg must be nearly 300.
Geez, that's how big he's been?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So how close to his ultimate potential as an open bodybuilder do you think he is now? Would you say like 60%, 70, 80? If you had to throw a number, how much bigger and better do you think Urs is capable of getting?
Bodybuilding, at least how modern bodybuilding is, and I really appreciated how it is judged right now and how the direction is going. It's not about the weight and it's not about the sheer mass. We have muscle parts we need to develop. We need a better back. We need better lats. We need a thicker upper back. We need more back separations. We need better arms. So that are the tasks we need to have, and that's not based in the weight or in the overall mass. So that's the way it needs to go, and we need to work and get him. Every year was a step forward. So I don't think that is stopping soon. But I couldn't call a number of percentage how far he is.
Yeah,
he's putting on weight fast and easy, but we need those quality muscles. He has on the chest, he has on his legs, he has on his glutes, he has on his shoulders. We need that on the triceps and on the back, and then he will be a motherfucking serious threat for anybody.
Oh, I do not doubt it. I mean, like I said, I was so impressed with what I saw because I was not expecting him to be in the top 5 in Italy or Germany. I thought, he'll look good, but it's not going to be, he'll look better next year when he has more time to improve. We didn't know this was coming. And that's another thing is, how did you keep him from, was it his idea, your idea, a mutual idea to stay covered up and not show the physique until day of the show?
It's always I just follow what the athlete wants.
Okay.
So sometimes we discuss things, and he asks Stefan, "What's your opinion?" And I tell my opinion, and he's doing his decisions, and that's good how it is. So I support it anyway.
I mean, I'm so glad that he did that, because otherwise we would have already seen it ahead of time. It wouldn't have been a surprise. It's kind of like,
and actually, believe me, he's a stage guy. You need to see that on stage, because seeing him alone in a gym compared to seeing him on stage next to the other competitors is a complete different level. Where most guys look better in the gym or alone, with Urs, it's the complete opposite. As soon as he steps on a competitive stage and fighting against other people, his diamonds start to shine. That's crazy.
Yeah, you make a good point, because he was we're all trying to figure out before the Italy show, what does he look like? What does he look like? And he's posting pictures walking around Milan, and I was like, oh no, he doesn't look that big. He doesn't look like he got that much bigger. I think he's in big trouble tomorrow at the show. And of course he wasn't. He wasn't in trouble at all. But yeah, that's the weird thing is most guys look a lot better by themselves. And then when you put them on stage, you're like, oh no, they're not as great as I thought they were. They were just kind of impressing me on their own. So yeah.
And the reason is because bodybuilding is a symmetry sport, you know. It's all about balance and all how it is put together and set up, and that makes actually a great bodybuilder.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I'm glad he's doing this, and I think he's going to do well at the Olympia. You know, whether he places 8th, 10th, 12th, whatever it is, he's going to look fantastic. The fans are very happy he's doing the show. And again, if he had skipped the Olympia like Sean had suggested, a lot of fans would be let down, because they want to see him on that stage now. Why would you make us wait another year and a month to see him when we can see him now? So anyway, enough about Urs. It's been very cool talking about him, and you're the guy. You have a great insight into him. I did want to get into one other subject, because there is this idea that the top coaches are just drug experts, and drugs. There's this prevailing misconception that drugs are the most important part of these physiques that we see. Now, I've been around forever. You've been around a very long time. We know that's not the case, but you know, I've heard you say that drugs are pretty much the least important part of a bodybuilder's success.
You know, anyway, you can't make a racehorse out of a donkey. You know, no matter what you do. So the first thing which will determine your success will be your genetic. And the genetic in bodybuilding is so diverse. You know, you need a genetic for building muscle. You need a genetic for shred fat easy. You need a genetic to have no injuries. You need a genetic for the right bone structure. You need the genetic for the right muscle bellies. You need the genetic to be stable in your mind. You need the genetic to be able to suffer, you know. The second thing which will determine your success will be how hard can you be to yourself. You know, can you beat the shit down every fucking day and trying to be the best you can be and improve in every aspect of sleep, food, eating, recovery, training, every of that shit, you know? Mm-hmm. And then somehow comes the drugs, which makes you a better recovery. You know, so first of all, you can't compensate misbehavior in the other things with drugs. That's the first mistake, which is very often done. And the second thing is it's just not that important than those other steps. You know, you if you look like shit, you will stay like shit. Maybe a little bit bigger shit, but still shit.
It's true. So I think it just comes down to people being in denial, because like you said, genetics are something you're born with. You can't change your genetics. So if somebody's got very average or below average genetics, and we've both seen this over the years, they can take all the drugs in the world and they still suck. They're never going to be a champion. And then, you know, go ahead.
It's the same. It's the same in every other sport. I'm racing addicted, kind of, you know, but I seriously have no talent in it. You know, I can work like a motherfucking monster and improve and all that stuff. But you could give me the best race car in the planet, I still wouldn't win a fucking race, because, you know, I don't have those tools genetically to really surpass everything. And for me in coaching, it's very important to to articulate or to say the people, sometimes it's quite tough and hard. For sure, everybody can get, not everywhere, but everybody can get better. But still, you have to be realistic where your place is, and the things you do should correlate to that.
So you've worked with so many clients. Do you take more satisfaction in working with someone who is among the genetic elite and making them their best?
No, I'm most satisfied when the goal of the people is, I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. And no matter how hard the task is, but that's my goal.
Yeah.
So that's actually the mentality or the way I love. Not sometimes it's a little bit that I would say clash of the generations, because back then when we started to train, I think we are kind of the same age. Especially I'm from Europe, there was zero chance to get a bodybuilding pro. Nobody thought about that. Back then you needed to be overall European champion or overall world champion when you are outside of the USA to get pro. That was unrealistic. I think Austria never had a world champion.
Wow.
Never. We had Arnold, who went the way over the NABA and the universe. We had Mustafa Mohammed, who also went over the NABA direction. And that's it. It was just completely unrealistic. We had some pros who got the pro card kind of presented, because that option also was when you were important or whatever. But there was just not a way. Even when it came to competing, most people started to compete because someone knocked at their shoulder in the gym and said, "Hey, you look quite good. Try to compete."
Yeah.
And then you said, "Okay, I start to compete and I give it a chance." These days people have trained for 1 year and they come and say, "I want to get pro and I want to win shows."
Oh yeah.
That's a complete different mindset and building up, and then they take a look, what do pros do? Okay, I do the same, and then I think I get there. No, it's completely false.
Yeah.
It needs to be built up and needs to be strategically long term. And the most important thing, you need the joy and the fun of doing it. If you really have problems going into the gym and giving the last piece of everything every day there, that's not your sport. If you have problems with getting on diet and you can't stand or can't hold starving or all that stuff, it's just not the right sport for you. Do something different. If doing the things which need to be successful in bodybuilding don't satisfy you, do something different. Don't do something just because of the goal you have. You need to love the way, otherwise you are doomed.
Yeah, I don't know which coach said this, but I've heard it said a few times, so maybe it's not any one person, but the goal should be a pro caliber physique, not a pro card. Because if you manage to turn pro, and you still look like an amateur, what are you going to do as a pro? So anyway, I do want to wrap it up because I know you have this is a very, very busy time for you. I really admire how you are able to work with so many people and guide them all to success. If you follow his Instagram page, Boss of Outlaw, of course, we all know Urs and Martin and the huge names, but there's so many other great athletes that you're working with that look phenomenal. And they're winning shows every weekend. So check it out, guys. And that's it, man. I'm looking forward to this Olympia. All your athletes, I wish them the very best of success.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking the time today, Stefan. I know, like I said, you're a busy man, and I do definitely appreciate it. So
we're gonna see there?
No, I won't be there. I'll be here. I'll be here in Boston watching on TV.
Okay.
But have an excellent time.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, Stefan. And everybody, thanks for watching Ron Line Report with this man, Stefan Kienzl, the Boss of Outlaw.